I'm talking to three individuals from the Bollington movie. I've got Alex, Chris and Amanda. They've all come in to join me to talk about what's happening at the moment and see how you can get involved. Hello everybody, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
I mean, when you were reading the scripts, did you have anything in mind that you actually wanted to do, or was it just a case of whatever jumped out at you was what you felt would be best?
We wanted an idea that we could make reasonably elastic, because at that point we had no idea whether 10 people would sign up or whether we get, 100. We had no idea at all. So that was really the view that we took when we were actually reading through the scripts, and we had a panel of judges, so it wasn't just James or me that actually decided. There were quite a few of us involved.
How many people did you have turn up to those auditions? And I bet they were great fun.
They were great fun. A lot of them were very frightened.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah, because it was a serious thing for people to do, because obviously not everybody gets the opportunity to be part of a film every day of the week. So everybody took it incredibly seriously. But I think we actually had to run it over 2 days, and I think we ended up with about 80 people actually auditioning. And these were people just auditioning for speaking roles. The extras, we haven't even talked to yet.
Oh, good grief.
A huge number.
So there are sort of 80 roles within the film, so it's quite a big film then, really.
It's a huge film.
I was going to say, if you've got that many sort of speaking parts,
yeah.
I mean, you alluded to it was a rather simple plot. It clearly isn't.
Well, define a simple plot.
But I mean, that's a great response from people, isn't it? And are you still having people wanting to get involved now as well?
Yes, and now that we're actually filming out in the public, people are seeing us. They're then, I mean, the hits on the website have gone up.
We have two of the lead characters, I think that's fair to say, isn't it? We've got Alex and we've got Chris. How are you guys? You okay?
I'm alright, thank
Hi,
you.
fine, thank you.
Fantastic. So, you're the stars.
Yeah.
Well,
Kind of, so to speak, yes. I'm Alex and I play Candy Chapman in it, and yes, I'm one of the lead roles in the film.
Have you done any acting before? Is this your first opportunity, or?
This is my first major film, the Bollington blockbuster as it is. I have done a few student films in the past, and I do study at Manchester School of Acting with Mark Hudson, so I've got a bit of a background to it, and I've also got a BA Hons in acting, theatre, film and television that I got at Bournemouth University as well, so I've done a degree in it.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, it doesn't mean much though when you get up in front of that camera. I so shouldn't say that, I'm very sorry. But your skills just go. I'm all right when I'm around people doing actual acting, but when you've got a camera in my face, it's suddenly very, very different, and you've got to make sure that the camera, that you don't notice that the camera's there. You've got to pretend it's not there and just carry on as normal, and it's quite nerve-wracking. So.
No, I'm absolutely sure. I mean, Chris, you're also one of the actors in the film.
Yes.
Right,
No,
okay, fine.
my character appears in 2 scenes and possibly might appear in a 3rd scene, but that's a bit uncertain at the moment. No, it's just that there are certain things to do with the writing that are still to be finalised, so that's a little bit uncertain yet. But at this stage, I'm in 2 scenes.
Is this your first acting opportunity, or are you an amateur dramatist, or?
This is my I suppose it's my first proper acting opportunity, you could say. Several years ago, I'd co-written a musical with a couple of friends, and we were lucky enough we approached the Bollington Festival Players, and they were good enough to stage it for us, and it ran for 5 nights, and I played one of the lead characters in that. So that's principally been my previous acting experience.
What's it like actually filming? Because now you've done a couple of weekends worth of filming. I mean, is it becoming easier, or is it still, about the atmosphere?
I think it's really good actually, because now that we know who we're working with, we've got to know everybody a bit more. You do feel more relaxed and more at ease around the people that you're working with. So you're not as terrified as you were when you walked into the auditions and there was 7 people staring at you and a camera in your face, and then people making you do improvisations on the spot that you weren't expecting at all. But now, because you've got a script, so you know what you've got to say and you get on with it. But I think it's brilliant that we've got so many people that are involved that make you feel comfortable in doing it in the first place.
So is it hard working it around your jobs as well?
I think for me it will probably be fine actually, but I think for Alex it might be. Alex is involved in more scenes than me so far.
For
Alex, it's probably a lot harder.
It is a bit tricky to juggle, work around it now and again, because I'm a swimming teacher at Bollington Health and Leisure as well, and an aquafit instructor, and I work quite late, but this is what I want to do, acting, so you make time for it, and I enjoy it, and I like being on my feet all the time. I'd rather do that and get up and do things and work within the community, so I enjoy it.
Yes.
But is it hard to also keep in your mind your characters, what you're doing, the rest of the film, because it's not something you're doing every day?
I think it can be hard to get into the character because when you sort of reading through your lines, you go over them at home, and but you're sort of doing it in isolation, and then I haven't actually filmed any of my scenes yet. I'm scheduled to film mine next weekend. And before the filming, there will be a rehearsal. And that for me, that will be the first time that I've been in a situation of, sort of performing my scenes properly. The rest of the time, I've been sort of going over them by myself, really. So, I'm sure that will feel completely different.
I think it is quite tricky. Because when you do the scenes for the film, they're not shot in order, the film, so they're shot in different orders. So there are times when, for instance, last weekend, I had a scene where I looked a lot different in the morning and then had to be transformed to something else in the evening towards the end of the film, from the beginning of the film to the end of the film, because I'm a completely different person, really. So I think it's quite difficult to make sure that you remain in character in that state, because you've only got a certain amount of time that you're in character in one scene, and then you're in a different scene and you've got to be a different part of your character, and it's very confusing. It's not like a play where it's throughout a through line. So it's quite difficult when it's all being shot out of sequence, but it is fun and it keeps it interesting.
The script that we started with was a wonderful story and great script, but when we actually had a read through in July where everybody came along and read their parts, and it became apparent that characters needed to move in different ways, so we changed scripts around and developed characters in slightly different ways, but obviously keeping that core story, and those characters are still here now as they were in the start.
So it's kind of a process for everybody then, effectively, as producers, as writers, as directors and as characters. It's constantly evolving then.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. And when we were filming on Sunday, one of the actors said, I think my character would sort of say this rather than that. Well, right, fine, go ahead, because you've got to believe in what you're saying and what your character's doing. There's no point trying to do something out of character because it won't appear right.
Does that make it more difficult for you and perhaps the director as well, because there's not so much continuity, because you're not shooting every single day? I mean, it's going to be a very long process. Is that going to be quite hard maybe to keep all of that going?
Yes.
Very much so.
I wanted short answers, that's enough. That's good stuff. So we've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, and we've also got a web page as well. So really everything is out there that,
basically,
that kind of people need. Fantastic.
Just go to Google and type in Bollington Movie and you'll reach us somehow.
That's brilliant. And thank you very much for coming in and chatting to us today.
Thank you for
And
having us.
best of luck for the next few months. And you're more than welcome to come back in at any time and let us know how it's going on.
Brilliant.
Okay,
Thank you.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks.